It's really bad.
Just call me Andrew the Rod Bender. What is going on, guys? We are back with Jordan from Modular Head Shop. This is going to be a familiar sight, tearing down an engine and trying to find out what is wrong with it and why it's making noise. Alright, she's toast. Poor baby. You want to hit the throttle body oil? Right there. If you guys saw the last video that we did similar to this, tearing down my GT500 engine, which I was hoping to find something that wasn't really bad, and we did. It wasn't really that bad. Yeah. This one, I mean, a rod could be through the block and I wouldn't care, because
it doesn't owe you anything. I think it's a tensioner pin or something to do with the timing chain.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter. We're planning on maybe using the heads, but the heads are so cheap it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
So we have a lot of really cool plans for the build for this, but let's go ahead and jump into tearing this thing down and finding out what was the failure. So we do have the S550 in the background of this video. So we got the Bullet out of here. We're ordering some parts and have a lot of stuff coming for that. We are doing the trans swap in this in another video. You guys will see that. And we have the 2-valve. Now this thing made 420 wheel horsepower, 490 foot-pounds of torque. Stayed together for about 2 years and over 50 passes, I don't know, 100 passes. I pulled out a huge wad of slips, time slips from this car. So it's been 10.9, you know, a dozen times. It's been 10.7 at 127. So really, this engine, it did well. Wasn't expecting it to last as long as it did. And yeah, so I did already sell the turbo kit, so I'm meeting someone to sell that later. I will have a bunch of parts for sale, and I have made a plan with this car, so I will fill you guys in soon. But 2 cams, that's your hint for now. And yeah, we're gonna stare this down and see what it looks like. I'm kind of just hoping that the heads are fine and that we can reuse them and port them, and it should be pretty fun. We do have a different block, so we'll go into that a little bit later. All right,
first thing we're going to do is pull the balancer out. Stock balancer bolts, 18 millimeters. Original. Hey, look at the oils changed pretty regularly.
Yeah, not too bad. Nothing out of the ordinary yet, I don't think.
No, it's okay.
John was guessing it was something in the head, but I think it's something in the bottom end.
Extra silicone, huh?
Oh yeah.
Make sure it wasn't leaking.
Exactly.
Don't see anything yet.
Yeah, our cams look good.
Crazy out of the ordinary.
Yeah, not too bad.
It does look a little dry, but it's been sitting, so.
Yeah, man, I drained the oil the other day and just...
But the heads look pretty clean too. I mean, somebody took care of this engine. It just got dirty.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're just working on taking a couple of the timing cover bolts off. Probably take the rest of them off with the gun. I've learned that when you're pulling the timing cover first, well, actually we could pull the oil pan now.
Yeah.
Want to do that? Might as well.
Might be the most interesting part. Might not. We don't know.
I prefer to pull the oil pan in this orientation than having it puke everywhere. So. Somebody's definitely been back here to put a rear main seal plate on there. Look how much silicone's coming off the bottom.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm hoping that they drilled the return with the pan off. You know what I mean?
Oh, they had to have, because it's just there's silicone everywhere.
Well, some people out there will drill a oil pan with it on the car and then leave the metal shavings in the oil pan.
Oh, that's how most people do it. There's reasons why a lot of people's crap blows up.
Not gonna name any names. Not gonna name any names.
I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just showing y'all how I do it, which is the right way. Oh, it actually separated.
There we go. How's she looking? Not bad at all. I don't think. What's that?
Chunk of piston.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so. Looks like it to me.
Alright.
It's a golden nugget.
This is what we're here to see,
take
a little
it,
bit of
let's
carnage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's about all that's in there though. Just a little bit. Just a little.
I mean, that would make sense with how terrible it was running.
Oh wait, there's other pieces. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
It's hard to say. It feels like a piece of piston though.
Yeah, keep those in there. We'll investigate them a little bit later.
Yep.
I like it. I like seeing the damage.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I could probably figure it out from right there, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do the top end first.
All right, so
We'll do it in order.
now I'm excited. I mean, I prefer for these heads to be okay, but
It doesn't really matter. We're gonna give them a lot of love one way or another.
oh yeah, a lot of love in the CNC, bro.
All right, all the timing cover bolts are loose.
I saw a little wiggle. There she is.
Looks pretty good to me. Wow. Trigger wheel looks good, not wore out. Most of them are wore out, especially when they're
Load up.
two-step all their life.
Oh, this one's a lot of two-step and rev limiter.
I really don't think this timing cover has ever been off though. I think this is all early stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
This stuff looks really good.
Pretty good shape, especially considering that may have done a piston delete. And I drove it home from Orlando too. 50-minute drive from Orlando.
Yeah. I'm sure the block is toasted.
Well, we don't need the block where we're going.
No, sir. Alright, we'll get these tensioners off of here. And then you're ready to pull some heads.
Yep. Yeah, everyone's gonna have to subscribe for the next video where we talk about the plan for the new build.
Yeah. Lots of power.
I showed the secrets over here. The fact that there's two camshafts should tell you exactly what's going on.
Okay, this looks pretty good actually. So, I mean, the darkness here, these are kind of whitish or yellow from the factory. This orange color, it's just from oil. But you can tell that there's not much discoloration. Just a little bit here, which is where all the pressure is from the plunger of the tensioner. So, all in all, it looks good. Whoever had this engine was changing the oil on a regular basis. There's the back of where the plunger sits. Typically, I would say that looks pretty good for a high mileage car. You'll see some of the aftermarket ones that are made from too soft of aluminum or not heat treated right. They'll get ate up pretty good right there.
Well, the chains look pretty good.
Chain looks good. It's definitely a OEM chain. It has the OEM part number etched here, and then every other link is a Morris USA link, so definitely an OEM timing chain. These are the tensioners that I prefer. They are the iron style tensioners. If you have the black plastic style tensioners, you'd never want to reuse those, and I would never use those in a high performance application. The ratcheting mechanism in the iron tensioner body is what we want, and we will go over that a little bit more in the build. Okay, nothing obvious up here. So, it's definitely bottom end related. Next up, we gotta take these guides off. I never take these off with an impact gun, so I'm just really want to see if this take it off. Oh yeah, it will.
We reuse those, right, Jordan?
Oh yeah, I just put them on the same way I took them off. LS for life. 2 Ooga Googas for NA, 3 for boost.
Oh.
Lovely.
Gross.
Don't see anything hurt yet.
Head gasket looks okay. Yeah, I don't see any. Don't see any marks on it.
A little scrubbing right here, but not bad.
How's that look?
Looks fine to me. I mean, a lot of times what you'll see is...
This valve's open, right? But
Well, that's because the cam's sitting like that.
yeah.
But there's not gonna... I mean, typically if there's any type of detonation or lean condition, the spark plug gloss starts to deteriorate on this head. It looks great, so... Head
It
looks
was
great.
really running rich, though. These were new plugs.
Yeah. Well, could have been compensating, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it might have been compensating because if we're missing a piston on that side.
Yeah. I'm gonna go throw these in my scrap bin and I'll be right back. I would not advise using an impact gun on like ARP studs or anything nice that you're gonna reuse. I don't really like shocking the fastener like that, but for this junk that we're throwing away, it's the quickest method. Get out of the way this time. Dude, I still haven't seen anything up top.
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting. Wow, the head looks great. Like Andrew said, it's rich. Yes,
Yeah.
This is what rich looks like, but it's not awful. It really isn't. Yeah. I don't see anything else. I don't really see anything yet.
Interesting. We got chunks of metal.
Just a few little chunks though.
Haven't found where it came from.
We'll see here in just a minute. Damn, this is... Go get a crank socket. We'll start turning, but I don't see anything. It's catching my eye. I saw a little bit of crap in the oil pump pickup actually.
Oh, what you got in there?
Yeah, I didn't mention that earlier. Just a little bit on the back side. I need to get like a pick, like a 90-degree pick.
Yeah.
Get some more stuff, but little flakes of junk. A little piece of RTV, some little metallic flakes. Nothing crazy. But see how these are moving?
Mm-hmm.
Best way to tell if the bearing's good. I mean, it's got good movement. Here, it's not awesome. It's a little bit tighter. So, what you'll typically see when it's tight, from detonation, if the detonation's real bad, the top portion of the bearing is actually just getting hammered. Metal to metal contact, it ends up being kind of pancaked and spreading out, and then your sideways movement, there is none. So we'll go ahead, we'll pull these two off first since they're the closest, and then I'll grab a crank socket and we'll start turning it over, and we'll just do two at a time.
Yep. They're loose.
I don't know. Whoa. Looking pretty decent.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. Jordan, what was knocking? Do we have bent rods?
I didn't see anything bent so far. I mean, I haven't really...
Huh. Weird. Where did that metal come from? Metal chunks.
It's not a ton though.
Yeah.
I actually think it's probably down farther in the piston. I think it's probably...
like the skirt or something?
Yeah, I'll show you where I think the weak part of the piston is here in just a second.
Let's pull piston.
This is number 4. Don't worry, that was from the head gasket. Ooh, what we have, is that bent? No. But the pin has a high spot. So the pin is a little bit bent. So I would say a lot of pistons will break right here, if not at the very top. I mean, the top is very thin. You can see why notching pistons for high lift cams is very stupid on stock pistons, because there's just nothing there. Another spot you'll see them break a lot is between the second and the oil ring, or just down here, but there's nothing real obvious. Yep, actually, yep, oh. I see it now. Yep.
You got it correct?
It looks like the skirt collapsed on this piston here. And if you look at the bottom, it was wiggling a lot, and it was having counterweight clearance. So that was the going around. The counterweights were hitting the piston. So, well, we already got the bolt loose here, and this looks fantastic. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and pull this one, and then we'll pull that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the angle, we couldn't see it, but that's definitely it. So something caused it to be able to rock like that, which is probably the skirt collapsing. And that's where the little metal chunks came from. Same thing, there's kind of a high spot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this 490 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels is a lot for this stock bottom end.
Oh yeah. Plus these are pressed pins, so they're pressed onto the rod, and they don't have a clip on the end of the piston. So.
Plus it was making that torque down low too. I was not easy on it.
Yeah. High cylinder pressure at low piston speed. Wonder why so many 12-to-1 Coyotes blow up too. We have here. It's really hard to say. Oh, yeah, the rod's bent like this, like a J. It's bent like that.
Bent the rod?
That's why it's so much closer. Oh, yeah. It's really bad.
So
where on the GT500, it was this way. This one's like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So it was cold that night, too. I bent the rod in the GT500 when it was cold, and then it was cold the night I was out with this. Is that what shortens
the rod? Cold weather?
Well, it makes a little bit more power when it's cold. And when you're on the limit of the engine.
Let's see how much shorter it is though. Oh my God. That's a ton.
So, bent rod, same thing as my GT500.
Yeah.
Just call me Andrew the Rod Bender.
Oh my God. We'll grab some popcorn for the comments on that.
Oh yeah.
That scene right there.
Impressive.
Very.
So then we also took out the piston skirt because it's. Do you say the crank was hitting it?
Oh yeah. Well, since the rod is shorter, obviously it brought the piston closer to the counterweight, so it's just clearancing itself.
Nice. All things considered, I think this thing actually ran pretty good considering that. Driving back from Orlando, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if the crank wasn't hitting, it would just have low compression on one cylinder.
Yeah, well, I had a few times I was moving around the driveway and it wouldn't start. Like it would just turn over, turn over, turn over.
If it doesn't start, typically that's a bearing dragging. And well, we'll see here if that's the case. No, that looks awesome. So there's a difference between like abuse failure and parts failure. You know, as an engine builder, I'm not warranting anything with a bent rod. I mean, you exceeded the limit of the manufacturer's part. Now, if there's bearing, you know, bearing issues that are not tuning related, then of course. But this right here is a prime example of a pretty good tune. No detonation that I can see on any of the bearings so far. But you're simply just have overpowered the part.
Yeah, Tony tuned this car. I think we only saw about 19 degrees of timing on 110 octane. Oh wow, that one's really bent. I could see that.
Oh, it took a huge chunk out too of the skirt.
Oh yeah.
So that was, yeah, but I mean otherwise,
dude, that rod.
This one actually feels better than the other two.
That rod is laughable.
And look at the piston though. The piston looks perfect. So the tune-up here was really good.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I was running rich is because this was probably throwing that bank off.
Yeah, you can tell when it probably when it first came around, that's when it broke the chunk, and then the rest it was just kind of.
Yeah, you know, it was a third gear pull. I did a third gear pull, or second to third, hit third. Everything was good, and then as the RPMs came down, you heard it knock. And it felt fast, like quick. Yeah. I drive 1,000 wheel horsepower cars. Probably making all of 450 that night and over 500 foot-pounds of torque. Or
literally just the beam of the rod's just not there.
Yeah.
Just not. So keep it 450 or less. You shouldn't have this problem. But this is the tune-up was good. You overpowered the rod. That's it.
Yeah.
How do you save this? Pull a couple of degrees of ignition timing to try to take some blunt force off the initial boost hit. That's going to save the rod a little bit, but other than that,
I wanted to go fast, so
yeah, you got to cap the power level at around 450 wheel on a turbo application, or especially a blower application too.
Rods and pistons.
Rods and pistons. We'll get you set up with a good recipe. So
yeah, we're gonna have a pretty cool recipe from this build too.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna talk about that here soon.
Yeah, probably next video. You're gonna have to hit the subscribe button, a like, and the comment. Oh yeah, I'm excited. I love this. I love seeing some carnage. And this is like good carnage. Really, there's nothing.
This is great carnage. Like, look at these bearings. And that's another thing I want to point out. I'm really getting sick and tired of guys that don't have a clue about engines in general. They're so picky about what bearings to run. Oh, tri-metal, bi-metal, blah, 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 blah. Dude, unless you're making 1,000 wheel, bearing clearance is going to be more important than what material the bearing is. So most guys that are really worried about materials are just reading up on stuff, and it's not that important. I run a good H-series bearing on pretty much everything, but I'm looking for clearance over brands. So King or Clevite is good, ACL is good as well. Use what has the best clearance. Don't worry about the material until you get way up there in power. This is a great example. Stock rod bearing.
Yeah, there's nothing to catch your fingernail.
Probably had 1.5 thou. I mean, you can see just a little bit of pressure spots, but that's not from metal on metal. That's where a high performance bearing will outshine an OEM bearing. But at the end of the day, that's all you really need is good clean oil. And I knew that the oil was going to be clean based on the way the heads looked and some of the staining on the timing chain guide. So clean oil is crucial.
Yeah, surprisingly, we didn't see, even with the metal that was in the pan, we didn't see any of the stuff really torn up from, you know, I drove it back 15 minutes. I knew I could have, if you wanted to save this engine or anything here, I knew I could have caused some serious damage driving back from Orlando. But to me, rather than calling someone to get a tow truck, I'd rather just drive back with this engine particularly. My GT500 engine, as soon as anything were to go wrong, I would just turn it off right away.
I always advise people to turn it off, but like Andrew said, he knew he was going to go through this engine. We're not reusing hardly anything, but you could absolutely reuse this crank. This crank looks perfect. I mean, once I get the other rods off, we'll know for sure. You know, little lines like this are never going to hurt anything, and that really is just, you can't even feel that. That looks worse on camera. So when you do have a failure of a part like this though, if you see anything more than chunks, thankfully he just had some chunks, but I know that there's some small particles. Obviously the crank's going around and hitting the piston thousands and thousands of times. So most of that probably is in the pickup tube filter or in the oil filter. But, you know, there's a good chance that quite a bit went through the oil pump, and so for that reason I would not ever reuse the oil pump gear unless it's a tool steel gear, and I definitely wouldn't reuse the housing. And that's about it.
Yeah. No, this is a really good failure. You know, if you wanted to reuse the crank, the block, we don't even have to pull the crank. I mean,
crank feels good.
Yeah, it still spins really nice.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be using any of this on my build.
No.
But
yeah, I think I might do a build.
Yeah.
Build that people can follow along with. Just do rods and pistons for something like a turbo application up to say 600 wheel horsepower.
Yep, with the 6-bolt crank.
Yep. 6-bolt crank, put all good, you know, good fasteners on it. Oil pump gear, obviously rods and pistons. That's really all you need for 600 wheel or so turbo application. So.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap it up. I don't think we need to tear into this anymore. We've pretty much found our answer there. So make sure you slap the like button down below. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to be doing an awesome 2-valve build just like the GT500 build series we did. And go check out Jordan's channel, Modular Head Shop. And we'll see you guys in the next one.